Hello everyone, this is Michael Kalyan, the project director of Diverse Talent Fantastic and also the youth ambassador of HKCESES. So today we have Dr. John Ivers with us. Dr. John Ivers, can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. My name is John Ivers, and I'm a professor of international studies, Spanish, and teacher education at Brigham Young University Idaho.
So, as we have Dr. John Ivers today, we are going to talk about the importance of invitational educations in the emerging AI and the quantum computer world. Well, before we start talking about the quantum computer, I think there might be some people who don't might know what quantum computer is. Can you tell them what quantum computer is, please?
Yeah, I can tell them a little bit about it. I'm far from an expert on that sort of thing. But a quantum computer is a type of computer that leverages subatomic particles to do computations. Subatomic particles one subatomic particle can be in many different places at the same time. It's something very odd, something almost impossible for us to comprehend as human beings. But somehow it leverages that ability of subatomic particles to be in many places at the same time to make very, very fast and very, very efficient computations, far more efficient and far more powerful than our current computing capacity.
Well, that's what we say, the real science.
Yeah, that's right. I know.
So, Dr. Ivers, you compare the rise of AI to the Industrial Revolution, right? What lessons can we learn from how education adapted in the past to help us navigate this new change successfully?
That's another great question. I believe the rise of AI will be is revolutionizing society right now. I think it'll be akin, as you mentioned, to the Industrial Revolution and possibly even the Neolithic Revolution. The Neolithic Revolution was around maybe 6,000, 7,000 years ago, where humankind first started using agriculture to get their food rather than hunting and gathering. I think a way to look at it is, one time I heard somebody use this analogy. I can't remember who it was, but I thought it was an excellent analogy. You know, the horse was first domesticated in Ukraine about 4,000 BC. And the horse was used as the main means of transportation all over Eurasia and was brought to the Americas by the Spaniards. And so for 6,000 years or so, the horse was the main means of transportation. It was almost impossible to think of any other means of transportation as far as land transportation anyway. And then all of a sudden the automobile comes along. And I'm sure when the automobile was invented, at least this is what I heard this person say, that people were thinking, it's just a fad. It's never going to catch on. You know, life is going to go on as usual, and we're always going to use horses. We've been using horses from time immemorial. Little did they know, when they first heard about an automobile, that the horse would be replaced after 6,000 years of usage. The horse would become obsolete. And so I think we're encountering a similar situation today, which because of AI, many different things will become obsolete. And I'm somewhat concerned about it. I'm excited about it. I think we have to follow through with this. But at the same time, I'm definitely somewhat concerned. I'm glad I'm an older person who can retire whenever he wants, because I think the younger generation is going to have to continue to retool and retool and retool and learn many different trades, because AI is going to revolutionize work as we know it and society as we know it, yeah.
Well, it was a warning from Dr. John to the younger generation. Get ready.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, let's move on to the next question. You say that teaching students to wield power kindly is a primary responsibility, right? Mm-hmm. How can the principles of invitational education be built into AI systems that we will all be using?
Okay. Right now, I'm seeing a lot of the principles of invitational education in AI systems. For example, when I have interacted with AI, I found it to be very, very compassionate and very, very understanding. AI takes my self-image into consideration when it answers my questions. It's something I find very surprising. And if I say something that is kind of, if I ask a dumb question, AI won't say, John, that's a dumb question. You're wasting my time, like some of my professors used to tell me in college. AI will try to legitimate that question in some way for me. A lot of these principles are already built into AI, and I think that they're going to have to continue to be built in. AI is going to have to, at times, warn people when they're on wrong paths as far as looking for nefarious information and things of that nature. We have to have freedom of access to information, I believe, in the world, and with as much as big a lack of censorship as we can possibly have. However, there has to be limits. AI would have to be programmed with the sense not to tell someone how to assemble an atomic bomb, for example. And I think that's one of the big challenges of the future. How do we give people freedom of access to this wealth of information, but at the same time prevent them from nefarious uses of it? Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the next question. With AI providing so much information, the role of teacher might shift from knowledge provider to something else. Well, you already talked about this in your speech, but for the audience watching right now, what new role do you see for the teachers in this AI-powered future?
Yeah, the day's going to come, and it may come within 5 to 10 years, when there's this thing called AGI that is coming out. And what you'll be able to do is you'll have the knowledge of the greatest minds in the world right here in your pocket. Right here in your pocket. You'll have everything the greatest minds in the world knows. You'll have access to the greatest minds right here in your pocket. And so the teacher, in the past, teachers have been disseminators of information. We disseminate information out there. Okay, there may come a time where everyone will have instantaneous access to any information just by thinking about it. It's just like the Neuralink chip that Elon Musk has invented. Just by thinking about things, you can operate a computer through your mind. Well, the day will come, and I talked to AI about this, and AI told me people are working on it right now, where you can just think about something and that information will become available to you through a chip or something like that. And so the teacher's role as disseminator of information may soon become obsolete, but we're still going to need teachers, because if we have people, if all 8 billion people in the world were to have instantaneous information to information and theoretically know everything AI knows instantaneously, they would almost be like gods. They wouldn't be omnipotent, but they'd be close to be omniscient. And how do we handle a world with 8 billion gods many of which don't have the moral ability to make good decisions? It could be catastrophic for the human race. So I see teachers' role as educating people in how to ethically use the knowledge they will already possess. That's the way I would view it.
Well, your answer was exciting but scary at the same time.
Absolutely. Very much so.
Well, let's move on to our last question. Quantum computing sounds like a science fiction to many of us. In simple terms, how might it change our everyday learning experience in next 10 to 20 years?
Another great question. Quantum computing, for example, I'll just give you an example of the power of quantum computing. Almost no knowledge will be off limits with quantum computing. Some, of course, will be, but much will not be. Google developed a quantum computing chip called Willow. And they gave Willow a problem that was pretty much unsolvable. And Willow solved the problem in 5 minutes. It was such a complex problem, almost impossible to solve, that it would take the best supercomputer we have. Now we're talking about a supercomputer. The best supercomputer we have, 10 septillion years to solve. 10 septillion years, that's 10 with 24 zeros after it. That's longer than the age of the universe. The universe is like 13 billion years or something like that, which is a very small number compared to 10 septillion years. And the Google Willow chip did it in 5 minutes. And so it'll revolutionize education in the sense that we'll be able to solve problems very, very rapidly. But as we were talking earlier, for example, criminals have problems that they have to confront, and one of the problems they have to confront is, how do I break through this system? How do I figure out the password and stuff like that? Well, quantum computing can do that like that, very, very easily. Almost instantaneously can figure it out. And so that is very worrisome and very concerning. And so even though we're going to have amazing access to knowledge, and we're going to open up brand new worlds. We're going to see reality in completely different ways. We're going to have to be very, very careful. And as we develop quantum computers, we're going to have to, at the same time, develop the safeguards, like cybersecurity safeguards and things like that, to be able to handle the new world that is rapidly coming upon us. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. John. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I hope our audience was able to learn something new from your precious words. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sanam. Thank you.